2 Samuel 22 and 23, and Psalm 57. Well, this is one of the more famous songs of David. In fact, it's so famous it finds its way into our Bible in two different places, both here in chapter 22 and Psalm 18. If the superscription is accurate, it was written during David's run from Saul. Before I read and look at that psalm, I'd like to read a prayer that's called a prayer to any god. It's a Sumerian prayer that was discovered, and it seems to have been dated back to about the 7th century BC. Listen to this prayer of a person from the ancient city of Sumer pray to his God. Every day worship your God. Sacrifice and benediction are the proper accompaniment of incense. Present your free will offering to your God, for this is proper toward the gods. Prayer, supplication, and prostration offer him daily, and you will get your reward. Then you will have full communion with your God. In your wisdom study the tablet. Reverence begets favor. Sacrifice prolongs life. Prayer atones for guilt. I wish I knew that these things were pleasing to one's God. What is proper to oneself is an offense to one's God. What in one's own heart seems despicable is proper to one's God. Who knows the will of the gods in heaven? Who understands the plans of the underworld gods? Where have mortals learned the way of a god? Again, called a prayer to any god. The phrase that strikes me is, who knows? Who understands? What is this God like? That's why it's called a prayer to any God. I do believe that as people thought of the gods, they probably invented a lot about them, or they didn't know. So they probably invented stories about their gods. That's where myths come from. They probably invented the characteristics of their gods that they thought they had. Some were in charge of the rain or the crops or whatever. That seems to have come from human invention. They probably invented names, in fact, for their gods. Names also moved around depending on the village you were in. The same god worshipped under different names. So, for example, I think, well, let's say, did Thor exist? Well, probably not as a name. But the people who worshipped Thor, I do believe behind that worship would have been an Elohim. All right, now compare that prayer to Psalm 18 or 2 Samuel 22. I'll just read some of the phrases that David has. I will call upon Yahweh, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. He also brought me out into a broad place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Yahweh rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he has recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of Yahweh, and have not wickedly departed from my God. I was also blameless before him, and I kept myself from my iniquity. Yahweh lives. Blessed be my rock. Let God be exalted, the rock of my salvation. Therefore I will give thanks to you, Yahweh, among the Gentiles, and sing praises to your name. Wow, what a difference. The difference between, of course, this kind of prayer that we've heard and this one is stark. It's a difference of tone, a difference of assurance, a difference of love, and a difference of knowledge of what this God is like. That is because God has taken the time, and this is so important to the story of Scripture. God took the time and the effort to call Moses, bring him to Sinai with the people of Israel, and give them Torah. That is a huge difference, again, from all other religions, where the Creator God has given a text, a literal, hold-in-your-hand text that these people then could have and know that came from its God. Well, I didn't comment on Psalm 23 back when we read it. We talked about some other psalm that time, but let me comment now on Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I was at a conference once where the editor of a new Bible translation was giving some background to why they chose different translations, and a question came from the audience. did you translate the word Yahweh into this new version? And he said, well, we got it in, I think it was 60 times. We were able to put the word Yahweh into the text of the Old Testament 60 times. And of course the other, it would be 5,700 other times, we put the word the Lord, like we have in most of our Bibles today, in capital letters. And of course the question was asked, why those 60? He says, well, we wanted to get it in there because we know again that the word Yahweh is in the text, and it's celebrated by people such as David. And he said we had it, for example, in Psalm 23. Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. It's a great statement of monotheism, right? A statement of assurance. He leadeth me beside still waters. He takes me through the valley of the shadow of death. It's just a tremendous statement of assurance, right? Which Elohim is being answered there. He said that we put out a beta version of Psalm 23, or of the Old Testament, with Psalm 23 reading, Yahweh is my shepherd, and he said we got a huge pushback, mostly from parents who did not want their children memorizing Psalm 23 that way. The Lord is my shepherd just sounds more normal to most people. And so he said, Psalm 23, we took out Yahweh and we put in the Lord. And again, my heart sank thinking, at what point, there would be no better verse and no more likely verse where David, it was David who wrote Psalm 23, is wanting to say, as we read at the end of this psalm, before the Gentiles, I say your name. I want you to know how proud I am to be loved by my God. So as we close David's life, and we're getting to the end of it here in 2 Samuel, we have met a very, imperfect man, a man of many faults. But one thing that we have always seen, and what we can never lose in the life of David, is how he was confidently attached in love and worship to one God.